I'm here on my magical thing with the fabulous Paul Weston, who I know as lecturer, tour guide, magical practitioner, therapist, writer, and particularly writer and practitioner within that kind of nexus of Glastonbury, the mystical landscape, thelema, psychogeography, ceremonial magic. Should I add anything else, Paul?
Ah, that's enough to be going on with. That gives the general idea, yeah.
Nice one, man. Good to see you. Please, may we see your magical thing?
Yeah, yes, indeed. Here is a little
there she is.
Of Bast.
Excellent. A little bit more in the middle. Put her in the middle so we can have a proper. Oh yeah, there she is. Oh, coming at you. Right, fantastic. Nice one, Paul.
And there is a suitably outlandish tale surrounding the fact that I have this item, which I would be delighted to regale everyone with.
Please do so.
Okay, so back in March 1990, got a bunch of mates round my living room. The electric fire, old school electric fire, you plug it into the wall and you switch it on and the fake coals light up. But to actually switch the fire on, you've got to put a few switches on the fire itself. In the course of the evening, the fire wasn't plugged in, it wasn't switched on. Suddenly noticed the fake coals on light. Think to myself, hang on, I never switched that on. I said to someone that was sitting on the sofa right by the plug socket, I didn't switch that, I didn't plug that fire in, did I? And she said, no, but I thought I saw a black cat down there next to me. And then I remembered, you haven't got a cat, have you? So that was kind of a mystery. At that point, I was involved with the Psychic Question group, Andrew Collins. A lot of wacky stuff, a lot of paranormal stuff was going on all the time. That was normal, but it was still very weird to think what a fire has plugged itself in without anybody touching it. That's a bit much. A few months went by, it's June 1990, and Andy Collins and his partner at the time, Debbie Benstead as she was then, Debbie Cartwright as she is now, who was an extraordinary visionary, an extraordinary psychic who could see elemental beings and communicate with them and used to get information and go out on our landscape journeys, sometimes on the basis of what she'd heard from some follet or whatever. They come round and she says, hang on, you've got a kind of creature that's living in your flat with you. It's like a sort of cat creature. It's half cat and it's half human. And it's flying about like it's Tinkerbell. There's a little beam of light. And then it would just kind of like land on your shoulders, about a foot tall. It's like human form, but it's got cat's head and it's got like 6 breasts. And it like loves you, man. You know, it loves you and this thing's with you. And you try and communicate with it. I can't see it. It's all meaningless to me, but you know, I'm up for it. Just talk to it. So I would just in the morning come in. It supposedly lived. One of my hi-fi speakers was on the top of an inverted tea chest. It supposedly lived in this tea chest. I would say, hello, Catwoman, what's happening? And I would sometimes hear funny noises on the wood. The real stuff, the thing that really alerted me to it was when I would sometimes hear noises like a pencil being snapped in half inside the tea chest. So that just made me think, okay, whatever, I'll play with this and we'll just see how it pans out. Now, during that same summer, Andy and Debbie had gone to some church in the wilds of Essex and they found living in there a Norwegian church grim, which is kind of a little creature, looks like Gizmo the Gremlin. They come over with the Vikings. Grim is a kind of, as you would know, a sort of name associated with Odin. And this thing took a liking to Deb because she could see it and she could talk to it, and they took it home. And it supposedly lived in the chimney around Andy Collins' house, and they made a little gingerbread man type dwelling for it in the fireplace, which it would hop about in, and it would communicate with this weird old Ouija board. They had like a Ouija board in front of the gingerbread man house, and Deb would see it come out and really rapidly pointing at all these letters, and she could somehow get it all down. And we would actually go off to places that we'd never freaking heard of that we'd got from this thing. And one day she thought, why don't we bring the Grim round to meet Paul's cat creature and see what happens? So they come round, and apparently, like, they don't get on, and there's a big kerfuffle, and there's all this sort of, she can see all this sort of lights and squealing noises and sounds of things being broken and stuff. It's all going on right above my Wi-Fi system. And I can only say from that point on, my Wi-Fi system never worked again. So, you know, make of it what you will. It worked that morning, it was broken after that. So these were the little things that just kept me going. But at the end of that year, December 1990, it really ratchets up. Andy and Deb around my place again in an evening, and she says, I can hear this weird wailing sound coming from your bedroom. I thought, oh my God, what? So I said, well, go in there and have a look. So she goes in the bedroom, disappears in there, comes back. You know, 5 minutes later, she says, you've got a portal to the step pyramid of Saqqara in your bedroom. And the interesting thing was, where this thing was, if you followed it through the wall, that was exactly where the plug socket was, that this fire had supposedly black cat, blah, blah, blah. She could see this wild freaking scene going on there at Saqqara, some enormous, great ceremonial celebration, multiple bonfires, people dancing around. And more of these cat creatures, and they're like human size, and people are having sexual relations with them. It's like absolutely freaking bonkers. Later discovered that the novelist Graham Masterton had actually written a novel called Sphinx, which actually does have these kind of cat creatures in and some pretty weird scenes. Masterton intruded on the psychic airwaves a few times during those days. Other people picked up demented visually stuff that we later saw. He'd written the same stuff in his novels, so file away under unknown. But the thing was, you've got something going on here. Andy had been given this little figurine of Bast by someone who got it at the Valley of Kings in Egypt, and he said, look, I'll give this to you, use this, pump this thing up. So in the early part of 1991, January 1991, I got a big poster of the Guy Anderson cat from the British Museum, stuck it on the wall where this portal to Saqqara is, and each morning before I went to work at the VAT head office in Southend, I would sit in front of this thing, I'd burn some starch, I'd Bast incense, and you know, I'm holding this in one hand, and I've got invocations of Bast, and I'm reciting this every flipping morning before I go to work. For unknown purposes. Now, during that period, I would wake up in the middle of the night, for example, to see golden hieroglyphics on the wall. But the moment that my mind kicked in and the verbal formulation, what the fuck is that? It was gone. You know, but that sort of thing was going on. And my brain kicked into some weird episodes involving the River Thames as River Isis. Some of this stuff is in my book Atagartis, but stuff that cat creature isn't. What then happened, within 6 weeks of this, an antique shop at the end of Andy Collins Road, where he lived, which specialised in artefacts from ancient civilisations, they got a canopic jar of Dwarmatef in, which was slightly damaged, which meant that he could afford to get it. So Andy scores a genuine canopic jar of Dwarmatef, and when they first get it, they say, well, look, here, have a little loan of it for a couple of nights. So within 2 months of me being told I've got a step pyramid to Saqqara portal in my bedroom, I have now literally got a freaking canopic jar of Dwarmatef that I had in there for a couple of nights. And Deb did this ceremony, an awakening ceremony with it, touching the nose, touching the mouth, touching the eyes, touching the ears, and bringing it to life so that it could help us. And this time I couldn't see it, but there were other people in the group who could see it. And the best story was one of the guys said it looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger with a dog's head. It really kicked ass for us, and like Deb would walk into the room where this thing was, it'd pull her out of her body, take her on a journey over the landscape. She could draw it on a map. We'd pinpoint somewhere that we'd never even flipping heard of. We ended up spending a night in the cave at Simmons Yat on the basis of where Dwarmy had taken us. So this was obviously absolutely freaking wild. The whole thing played out in 1991. Some of it's in Atagartis, some of it isn't. And there it kind of sort of abated, but obviously I kept my little kitty cat, and it ended up on the TV set with a statue of Isis. I wouldn't say it just became part of the furniture, but the intensity had kind of abated. And then there is a few reduxes, because a very strange woman came around my house at the end of 1992, who later on achieved notoriety for being splattered all over the newspapers for wanting to marry the Yorkshire Ripper. The moment she walked in my room, she knew nothing of any of it. She says, "Why do I see the step pyramid of Saqqara? I get a real strong feeling that step pyramid of Saqqara is present here." So that was 1992, but the last bit of real fun and games was in 1994 when a friend of mine from my university days came to stay with me for the weekend. And she was quite psychic and visionary in a new agey kind of way, but she was really into Egypt, saw Egyptian imagery quite easily, was into cats, was into bass, kept cats, but didn't know my story. And she walked into my living room, saw kitty cat on the TV set. Literally the first thing she sees, the second she's laid eyes on it, cat creature comes out of it and is no longer just a dilly little thing, but is like pretty much full human size and tries to possess her so that it can communicate with me. But, you know, this is not her bag. She's not happy about it. In fact, she's quite upset about it. You know, I ended up, you know, she kicks on the sofa. I took the figurine into my bedroom to get it away from her. But she spent a whole night periodically fighting this thing off. And I have to say, a pretty bad time and was quite upset about it. And then away she went. So file away under WTF multiple question marks. And that's, you know, there was a few little bits and pieces when I came to Glastonbury. This thing's had a bit of a makeover. It had a little bit of paint put on it by my girlfriend at the time in Glastonbury, Chandira Hensley, but a little bit of weirdness happened, but that was, you know, that was the crux of it. So there we are, you know, it obviously remains a treasured possession.
Paul Weston, thank you so much for introducing us into a psychogeographical, amazing, multi-leveled ancient Egypt connected with your bedroom there in Glastonbury. A magical thing.
Southend, it was Southend at the time.
Oh, Southend, forgive me, yeah, Southend. That's even more mystic, probably.
All that in mystical Southend, mate, when I was working in the VAT head office.
Paul, it's lovely to see you, man. Thanks for sharing that story.
My absolute pleasure.
All right. I'll catch you soon. Be well.
All right.